Hi, my name is Brian Tenty, and I am making this video in response to Lt General Boykin's video on Marxism in America. I think it's been around for a while, but I first saw it, so I am making this in response to it because I think his statements are uneducated, bigotous, and spreading hate mongering. So I'm making this in response to try to make people aware of that and to show kind of his bias and how inaccurate his statements really are. The first thing that I want to say is, I really respect General Boykin for his service to the country and for what he did. I'm sure he must have seen a lot of shit, and he served the military for over 30 years, and you got to respect him for that. But does that mean that I have to respect his political views or his views on, civil rights? No, I don't. I don't whatsoever. When someone who has some notoriety, goes out and starts, talking about, particularly, politics, it sometimes it really bothers me because, these people, hey, they're using their fame, they're using their notoriety to get their voice heard, hey, which is all good, but does it mean that you're any more accurate than a Joe Schmo on the street? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that people should believe you more than anyone else? No, it doesn't. It's funny because, I always kind of laugh, when I see Bono involved in something, because, hey, more power to him for trying to make the world a better place. But, when you talk about, what and how it kind of advanced his mindset is, or his ideas are about how to save the world, it's like, man, you're a rock star, okay? You're not a genius, you're not an Einstein, you're not doing the things to really save the world. Hey, granted, he's making the world a better place, I'm sure, but there's a lot of other people that have a lot more educated and better thought ideas about how to go about it, and hopefully he's listening to them. So anyway, back to General Boykin here. So a little bit of background: he's got a bachelor's in English. All right, enough said about that. He has a lot of references to Christianity in his video and in his bio. He did say that God is what led him to the Delta Force. So again, very Christian statement there. He also wrote a book in which part of the title is A Soldier's Journey to the Crossroads of Faith and Freedom. So obviously, very religious connotation there. And in his video, he supports and defends, right-wing Christian conservatives. So again, more substantiation that, okay, obviously, he's a very, very strong Christian, very strong in faith. Unfortunately, right-wing conservative Christians have a couple negative stereotypes. Some of them being, being homophobic, being bigotous, and not being, tolerant of other world religions, face people, et cetera, et cetera. There's also some that have been known for spreading violence and spreading hate speech. So I definitely think he is spreading hate speech here. But anyway, so unfortunately it does have those stereotypes. And again, not saying that all Christians, are that way, but there are some, and he's definitely one of those. A couple other things too is that he also in his military service, he was also in Somalia, fighting a Muslim warlord. So it's funny how it's commented that even in the Wikipedia that it was a Muslim warlord. What the fuck does it matter if it's a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu or a Buddhist warlord? Like, what's the significance of saying it was a Muslim warlord? It was a warlord, But even there, it shows the negative connotation that someone can put and associate with the Muslim faith, So there's, and unfortunately, there's a lot of Christians that fear the Muslim faith. While a lot of Christians forget things like, hey, you guys remember the Crusades? When the Christians just went around slaughtering Muslims for just, the hell of it? because there were, different religions, and that's all. Oh, that was a long time ago. We can forget about that, just like we can forget about the Holocaust. No, I don't think so. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. You can't really forget about what societies have done. We're not going to forget about the Holocaust. I hope we're never going to forget about the Holocaust, and I hope we never forget about the Crusades. But a lot of people, they've forgotten about the Crusades. They have forgotten about Christianity's violence. And even being able to recognize the violence that Christianity is spreading now. You look to America and, yes, there's a terrorist threat, but we have people burning down mosques, and attacking mosques and defaming mosques because of their fear of the Muslim faith. But, it's another religion. We have to be tolerant. That's what the nation was founded on. At any rate, going back to General Boykin's bio here, so he was born in 1949, and if you look at Wikipedia anyway, it'll say that the Cold War is often cited dated between 1947 and 1991. So basically, he was born at the beginning of the Cold War, and growing up during the peak of it. He was 13 during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he served a large portion of his military career during the Cold War. So obviously, on top of his Christian beliefs, now he has built up anti-communist beliefs as well. So his bias can be easily seen, especially how he's coupling his hate speech towards homosexuals, towards Muslims, and towards communism in one. What a great way to do it. Just wrap up all the things you hate in one and spread that hate speech, Oh man, it's tiring talking about 3 topics. I'm going to wrap everything I want to spread hate speech about into one and start making videos about it. It's awesome. So in his video, he makes 6 points about the Marxist insurgency. Now, Marxist insurgency, I kind of looked around, not too much, but it seemed like it's really his own coined term. As far as I know, most governments come to be from a very unique series of events. A lot of them have foundations and similar things, but it seems to me that every government, kind of has its own unique creation on how it came to be. And we can even look at democratic societies like the United States and England. And even though we're both democratic societies, we're actually a democratic republic. And we both have very different, government structures, and very different ways that, our current government kind of came to be. So, when he mentions multiple communist countries and kind of how they came to be and relating this insurgency to saying that, all of these communist, countries kind of came to be from these 6 steps, from these 6 things. I'm not going to research into the details of it, but I can pretty safely say, I think, that no, they probably have their own unique set of conditions on how they came to be. So anyway, so the first is he talks about the bailouts. He talks about the bailouts and actually mentions a bailout separate from redistribution of wealth, but the bailouts are really just kind of a redistribution of wealth too. But he talks about the bailouts, and it's funny because he's defending the right wing and implicating the left wing in this Marxist insurgency, yet it's actually the right wing that started the bailouts. It was actually in 2008 under President George Bush and his administration that the bailouts started. And actually they've had so much success, or they've been deemed as so successfully, that even some of the right wing is starting to get credit for it now. Obama and the left wing has kind of gotten the brunt of that because they're not getting a lot of the credit for it now, but they got beat up for it for sure. They got a lot of negative publicity about about Obama's involvement in the bailouts. So again, I think they kind of got the unfair end of the stick there, but it was the right wing that started that. So that's really, I think, the first piece of misinformation that is in his video. He also talks about the redistribution of wealth and specifically mentions healthcare and Medicaid and Medicare. Well, it's funny because Medicaid and Medicare, they are socialist programs. So is Social Security. They've both been around for a while, and I don't hear the right wing speaking out against it at all. I think there's a lot of benefit to socialist programs. We have a lot of other socialist programs. Education, public schools, that's socialist. Any system basically where, your tax money is going where, you don't necessarily, support or go to or involved in. That's pretty much a socialist program, and we need those. We need police officers, and we need people to contribute to having police officers, no matter if you believe in them or not, or want to pay for them, or get taxed for them, or anything like that. We need these programs. So, just because you have some socialistic programs doesn't mean you have a socialistic government. Just like we're not a true democracy, doesn't mean we're not a democratic government. So, anyway, and again, I don't hear any right-wing political figures really trying to, take down Medicaid and Medicare and, Social Security, hey, if that's what he's preaching, that, hey, we should get rid of all socialist programs. Hey, I want to hear him come out and say, hey, we need to get rid of Social Security and we need to get rid of Medicaid and Medicare, because those programs benefit a lot of people who would be very bad off if those systems weren't there to help them out. Anyway, okay, on to the next one, discrediting opposition. So it's part of the Marxist insurgency to discredit your opposition? Oh my gosh, General Boykin's part of the Marxist insurgency. He's discrediting his opposition. I mean, seriously, that's what his video is about. He's discrediting his opposition. And I mean, the only point that I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to say that he's actually Marxist or part of this insurgency he's trying to warn us about. But anyone who has a political agenda typically tries to discredit their opposition. You have positive campaigns where you're putting everything that you do in a positive light, and you have the negative campaigns where you're putting what your opponent does in a negative light. You kind of have to show, you do have to show how you are better than your opponent. I don't know of a lot of political campaigns or political figures that have run campaigns that don't have any sort of negative campaign, where they don't try to discredit their opposition at all. I mean, hell, that's a debate. Okay, a debate, you try to support your opinion and discredit the other person's opinion. It's a debate. It's healthy. Okay, it's not Marxist insurgency. Like we can just throw this one out there. So that's why, I mean, throwing this in here is like saying all Marxists promote drinking water. Well, everyone drinks water. Yeah. Oh shit. Anyway, so the fourth one, censorship. Talks about censorship. He talks about both censorship of the media, and he talks particularly about censorship of being targeted at pastors. Again, you see him defending the Christian faith here, but it's funny because he doesn't, he's supporting it, and he's still, being able to be bigotous by saying, by specifically pointing out, homosexuality and the Muslim faith. So, you're not defending free speech on pastors to say, I don't know what else, but yeah, you know what? It's not like I'm for censorship. I am for free speech. I am proud that General Boykin put his thoughts out on YouTube or whatever, to get his opinion across. Because, hey, we all have the right to free speech, no matter how hateful, bigotous, or uneducated it is. So, censorship. I would try to convince people, just in general, to not promote or say anything that would be promote hate mongering or would be hate speech. Not just against homosexuals or Muslims, but pretty much against anyone. I mean, that's my belief. Now, just because just because it would be part of my personal agenda to stop people from being homophobic, or to stop people from not being tolerant of other world religions, does not mean I'm trying to censor people. For crying out loud, love one another, you know? I don't want to promote hate speech that causes another person to like burn down a mosque. And you know what? If there are people who are actively promoting people from stopping people from bombing, abortion clinics, from bombing and just defiling a mosque, I am all for that. It's not censorship. That's pretty much calling, you know what? In that regard, you could call any single civil acts right an act of censorship. Because you know what? That prevents discrimination. Discriminatory speech. It helps stop those things in certain places. Now, anyone can be a bigot. Anyone can be a hate-mongering homophobe. And you can get on YouTube and promote your hate-mongering homophobic ideas, just like General Boykin did. But, they have the right to do that. Do people have the right to do that in government positions? No, they don't. Yes, I am all for anyone, speaking out against, again, anything that leads to hate-mongering and violence. And, the unfortunate thing is while it may seem that, there's a big cause for defending homosexuals and a big cause for defending Muslims, outside of defending Christians, it's like, well, the thing is, in America at least, well, terrorists, sure. We have, there are serious threats from terrorists, but when it comes to a lot of internal violence, it's not against Christian religions, it's against Muslim religions. It's against the Muslim faith, it's against mosques. You don't have people bombing Christian churches for their pro-life attitude, but you have Christian pro-lifers bombing abortion clinics for their pro-choice views. So yeah, stop the hate mongering. Stop that hate. Let people live their lives according to the law and the freedoms that they have. Okay? It's not censorship. All right, next topic. So let's see here. We have, controlled guns. Controlling guns, he mentions. So it's really funny because controlling guns isn't essentially something that is communistic. There's a lot of democratic societies that control guns. I mean, we control guns. I mean, we have rules. We have controls that we put in place to getting guns. And so what? He talks about the United Nations getting involved in trying to control guns. Oh my gosh, a global effort to try to control guns? You know what? Last I checked, the U.S. doesn't control guns all that well. There's still a lot of criminals with guns. You know what? In fact, if you want to speak out, against Obama's administration, the recent, Fast and Furious, issues. I mean, hey, that's a valid point. But the fact is I believe that further emphasizes the need for, the nation, and if not the world, to have a collaborative effort or a better effort to controlling guns. I believe that's a good thing. It does not mean that we're going to lose any of our rights to own guns. But hey, guess what? If they're tracking it better, if they know how many guns are out there, what are lost, who has what, hey, to me that means less people are going to get shot. And I think that's a very good thing. So, hey, I know General Boykin's, a military guy and a special forces, but you know what? There's a lot of gun-toting criminals too. Okay, just because gun control doesn't mean we're trying to take it away from all of the people who have the right, and deserve to own guns. It really means we're trying to control it against the people who are dangerous with weapons and the criminals and the people who commit violent crimes with them. okay? You might be a gun-toting redneck, you know, and hey, guess what? You know, I got nothing against gun-toting rednecks. You know what? If you own your gun, you know, if you own 20 guns, you've got gun racks, you've got shotguns, you go hunting, hey, that's great. You know, but you know what? There needs to be control of those guns. People should know what you have, and you shouldn't just be able to go on the street and buy a gun. You know, again, people who are right now illegally purchasing guns by just being able to, you know, go down the street and buy a gun from someone who's selling it, aka complete lack of control, guess what? Those are the people that are killing people with guns. So yeah, hey, global efforts, I think that might be a good thing, you know? I mean, essentially what I'm hearing is, you know, I could start saying some biased, you know, heated words, and I could say right now, okay, yeah, well, you know, General Boykin wants people to get shot, you know, but that's essentially what he's doing. But no, he obviously is for less gun control, but I think, again, gun control is a good thing. All right, the sixth point that he makes is to develop a constabulary force. I've never even heard constabulary before. I'm pretty sure it's a real word. I might be mispronouncing it, or he might have mispronounced it, but basically, you know, the word that more people are probably familiar with is trying to, you know, is the establishment of a Gestapo, you know, type force. So he's saying that Obama is trying to establish a police force that has the same type of manpower and the same type of equipment as the military. Well, first off, I don't see that happening. Two things. I don't see that happening now. Okay? And if the government spent its military budget on the police force too, holy shit. I mean, we'd go bankrupt a hell of a lot quicker than we are now. I mean, if we're not technically bankrupt now, I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, no, that would be really bad. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anyone would approve a budget for that size force. So I don't really see it happening. You know, but again, I don't see it happening in the nation. I don't. You know, I know a few officers. I don't think they get that opinion. I don't see them carrying around M16s driving tanks. I haven't even heard that idea proposed. But anyway, you know, I really don't see how Obama is establishing that type of force. So anyway, but those are his 6 points. Those are my opinions about his 6 points, and I don't really have a good summary to wrap this up. Again, hey, I'm not an expert, but just like him, I'm putting my opinion out there. So that's what it is. Hey, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the rant. Hope you will share this. You know, I'd rather people, you know, share love, share tolerance, share acceptance, rather than hate mongering and hate speech. So it's my video, and that's it. Until next time.